For over 25 years, a creature has been terrorizing a small town nestled in the Allegheny Mountains.
This scared me.
With a wingspan of over 18 feet.
It goes like this.
12-inch talons capable of lifting children.
Grandma's pick me up.
And a razor-sharp beak that can pierce a human skull.
Oh my God.
The Thunderbird has been reported across North America for over 7 centuries. Now, encounters have started to rise. But the menacing creature remains unconfirmed.
What the hell is that?
In the mid-20th century, scientist Ivan Sanderson set out to separate fact from fiction. He investigated hundreds of frightening encounters with unexplained creatures around the world.
Our next guest tonight is one of the world's leading naturalists, accumulating material for some 30 years.
As the founder of cryptozoology, he built the most extensive archive of unclassified creatures on Earth.
There seem to be a lot of these creatures in our continent, in South America, in Africa, and all over Asia.
But following his death in the 1970s, that archive disappeared. Until now. Armed with modern tech and Sanderson's lost research,
we need to take this and compare it to what's in the archives.
A team of experts will reinvestigate his unexplained cases using up-to-the-minute research and predator expertise.
I've never seen wildlife do this. There's nothing like that should be doing that here. Holy.
Can Sanderson's files lead to an incredible new insight and take another creature from myth
Did you see that?
to reality?
One of the cases that Ivan Sanderson was obsessed with was the Thunderbird. These stories span decades, if not hundreds of years. These large birds coming down and attacking children or small people.
Thunderbirds are linked to large bird-like sightings all over the world. The Thunderbird was first recorded in 2,000-year-old cave paintings by indigenous tribes as an enormous winged creature that creates thunder by flapping its wings and lightning by flashing its eyes.
Endless reports of huge winged things, light brownish birds looking like buzzards or turkey vultures. In one account, the wingspan was 4 feet greater than a 2-lane road, stretching 25 feet wide. In correlation with the sightings, people of all ages went missing.
There's tons of Thunderbird material in here. He was definitely obsessed with this creature.
And don't forget, one of the largest stories ever told was by Marlon Lowe.
Right, and that story came out in 1977, which was 4 years after Sanderson had passed away. Marlon was attacked. He and his mother claimed that huge birds swooped in, picked Marlon up, and then tried to fly off with him. Had Ivan been alive when that occurred, he would have had a lot of interest in talking to Marlon.
Yeah.
I think there's a real opportunity to get his firsthand account.
I really think that this would be a really interesting case to figure out what's going on. Because the sightings in Pennsylvania, they've been ongoing, especially at Chestnut Ridge. Actually, I heard from a guy that has had multiple accounts on his property. He's saying that's been visiting his farm, and he's seen him multiple times. And it's interesting to note that Ivan Sanderson actually looked into the Chestnut Ridge.
Around Chestnut Ridge in western Pennsylvania, Ivan Sanderson documented over 24 frightening encounters.
I could actually kind of cross-reference where the farm sits to the ridge that Ivan was already mapping out in Pennsylvania.
We've got the map and a location.
Yep.
We have Marlon's firsthand account, and we have a farm where the Thunderbird keeps showing up. I think we have enough to start making our way to Pennsylvania. Chestnut Ridge was the main area of interest in Ivan's research, and we are going to carry that investigation forward. Brittany, Justin, and Troy will head to Chestnut Ridge and investigate the recent sightings that are occurring there. Tracy and I will interview Marlon Lowe. We'll measure the gathered evidence against his classification index. That will help us determine if this creature is a known animal species, a Lazarus species, something formerly thought to be extinct, or an entirely new species altogether. Sanderson believed that he was close to tracking the Thunderbird at Chestnut Ridge, and this is a great opportunity to build on his work. Our goal is to figure out what the Thunderbird is and document proof that this creature exists.
A creature the size of the Thunderbird speaks to the Andean condor. Yet this massive New World vulture is an ancestor of the Teratornis, the ancient winged animal whose size dwarfed that of the condors we are familiar with today. Now, some scientists claim it became extinct at the very end of the Pleistocene, some 10,000 years ago. However, I'd like to propose that perhaps the mysterious Thunderbird is truly a living, breathing Teratornis.
This was one of the eyewitnesses that sees these large birds that would be considered the Thunderbird.
Okay.
So I wanted to come out here and take a look at everything because the sightings are starting to really accumulate out in the area and around this area.
I guess we might as well go up and check this out. You ready?
Chestnut Ridge is a 90-mile-long ridge in the Allegheny Mountains of Pennsylvania. For decades, this area has had attacks from Thunderbirds. The most recently reported sightings are all located in the same vicinity that Sanderson had circled on his map, a Thunderbird hotspot along the ridgeline.
How's it going, good sir?
Good to see you, sir.
Justin.
Hi, Justin.
Troy, nice to meet you. How are you?
Troy, how you doing?
The team meets with an eyewitness who recently encountered the creature on his farm, which sits directly below the Chestnut Ridgeline.
Interviewing an eyewitness is extremely important because it's allowing us to identify what we could be dealing with. We know a lot of the species in the area, but based off of what the sightings are, this is something much larger. You seem to have some sightings on your property. Do you mind kind of giving us some
I don't mind at
background?
all. I've seen them 3 times.
Okay.
The first time I seen them, I was out here cutting the field. And we're looking out there at the field, and there's a tree stump. And I'm thinking, why is there a tree stump in my field? I just cut it. And the tree stump picked its head up. It goes like this. So then it takes one kind of like a lean forward into the breeze, kind of gets up and goes whoosh. It was thick in the neck and big.
So feathered all the way from the front to the back.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of birds flying around here. There's pelicans, there's storks, there's buzzards, there's eagles. This was none of those. This was much, much more massive.
I want to get an idea of size. Justin, if you stand over here for a minute, Justin's about 6'5", I'm 6'1". So if we had a wingspan like this, right?
Add this.
Stretch out.
Yeah, right here.
So about like this, Brittany.
Sweet
Yeah.
Jesus. So we're looking at a 15 almost.
So that's how big we are right here.
Yeah.
Based on Aaron's testimony, I don't think we're talking about the cryptid, but I have no idea what the culprit would be. So hopefully we can do some more experiments and really try to nail something in, something maybe a little bit less ordinary.
I just want to get to the facts, okay? Sanderson theorized that the Thunderbird could be related to a prehistoric species. So, like, we're talking neo-dinosaurs.
Neo-dinosaurs are a Lazarus species of cryptid, which are animals believed to be extinct, but some believe could have survived extinction.
We have the Argentivus.
They had a wingspan of 20 to 25 feet and weighed in at about 180 pounds. The Teratorn had a wingspan about 13 feet and weighed between 30 to 40 pounds.
And he did mention both. He seemed to lean a little bit more towards the Argentivus.
Let's just understand what we're doing here. We're talking about a Thunderbird we know nothing about. As far as I'm concerned, it's mythological. When you see a bird that's 5 feet tall and it flies over, it looks massive to you. So sometimes perception is wrong. Now, could there be a gigantic bird? Something that just grew a little bigger, that's already a large species? You've got those herons. What else you got? You're talking hawks, red shoulders, golden eagle.
The bald eagle, they're gonna have white patches and stuff that may be harder to see from up high. The reason why I think it's gonna be a golden eagle is, number one, it's a large-sized bird, one of the largest raptors we have in the area, with a wingspan of almost 8 feet. Number two, the color, the shape of the beak. One thing that does throw me off, the crossover of the wings, the head down, and then looking up, that's more of like what we would see with a bat hanging upside down.
What if we're dealing with something that isn't documented? It's just completely undocumented and flying under the radar. That's a possibility.
And at the, see where those shadows are out there?
Yep.
The last shadow on the left. Come this way 20 feet. He was standing right there.
When you had mentioned earlier in regards to a lot of times when you mowed, sometimes you would see them.
Yes.
I mean, I understand that, I mean, it looks like you've pretty much mowed recently. It's kind of short, but would you be willing, just as an experiment, to mow again?
Sure.
Just to see if it's habituated, perhaps the sound might be familiar?
Yeah, I got a
might...
dead groundhog also, if you want to use that.
You do?
Yes.
Why would, yeah. I mean, I'll take anything.
Okay, I'll go again.
I'll run some experiments.
No problem.
Thank you, Aaron.
All right, so
You're
he's
welcome.
going to run some experiments. I think Justin and I will go over to the conservatory.
Oh, we got to go meet
Avian
Charlie.
Conservatory, is that what it is?
ACAVA.
Yeah, it's the
something
Avian
like that,
Conservatory. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just go. Let us go do that. You good doing all this here?
Oh, I'm
You
great.
need us call.
How about this? Let's do this. You do your experiment, and then we'll judge your experiment when you're done.
Oh, okay.
We
I
go.
like this.
Yes,
go.
it's hot.
You
Good luck.
make fun of
got
me?
any-
Have
That's
fun.
not cool.
If you do a good experiment, we won't.
Do you have any food in your pocket?
You got it. I always have food in my pockets.
What do you got?
Okay,
Brittany, don't
stop.
worry. It's
Yeah, whatever. I love you.
totally breezy
Don't get
outside.
bit by a bird. Aaron mentioned to us that when he mowed, this thing would swoop in. It's possible this bird is habituated. It triggers the sound to food. When Aaron mows, mice and other critters scurry around and it becomes a feeding frenzy. If we can replicate those conditions, we might bring that Thunderbird to us.
45 miles away, Charlie and former CIA intelligence agent Tracy Walder head to Farmington, Pennsylvania to meet with a potential witness.
We're on our way to meet Marlon Lowe. He was attacked in 1977 by a large bird, so we want to get his direct account.
In 1977, the story of 10-year-old Marlon Lowe's abduction by an enormous bird made national headlines. The claim made by Marlon and his mother is still met with skepticism today.
An important part of this investigation is attempting to authenticate the accounts we're being given and detecting signs of deception.
They used to call me the human lie detector at the CIA, and I think the reason I'm able to do that is because I keep people talking.
I'm Tracy.
How you doing?
It's nice to meet you.
And I keep people talking to look at consistencies in their stories, body language, and their voice inflection.
Would you be willing to sort of like walk me through what you experienced?
Yes, I will.
All right.
My name is Marlon Lowe, and I had a life-changing experience when I was young. I got picked up by a thunderbird when I was 10 years old.
I just want to get an idea of what you experienced.
And I was running down behind my house, and when I was running, this wind just pushed right like that. And when it pushed me, something just grabbed me right by my tank top and my shoulders and picked me up. And when it picked me up, I was just running on my feet, you know. And when I run, then it dropped me, and I just kept running.
Typically, when someone's being untruthful, they tend to tense up and become highly anxious. But that's actually not what I got with Marlon. His answers were very consistent, and he actually relaxed.
It had like a 15 to 25-foot wingspan, black with a ring around his neck and a curved beak on it. It looked just like a condor, but it was 10 times the size of the condor you see now.
Where did it grab onto you?
Well, it grabbed me just around my shoulders. I got a little scar.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I think little's an understatement, respectfully,
that's
sir.
quite a large scar.
That must have really hurt.
Oh, it did.
Would it be all right for my journal if I measured your scar with a measuring tape?
Yeah.
Just to get an idea?
Yes. Okay.
Curve, somewhere around 6 inches?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably got a little bit bigger because of my.
You got older, it grew.
It's probably stretched a little bit.
Marlon's firsthand account is terrifying. His scar is interesting, but I think I really need to get up with Troy and Justin because they know a lot more about birds than I do. I want to figure out what could have done this.
Back at Chestnut Ridge, Brittany is prepping an experiment to try and lure in the Thunderbird.
Right now, I'm having Aaron do what he normally does, which is just clear the land. When he does this, it seems to bring this bird in. You know, birds like to look for things that are moving, and they also go by sense of smell. So what I'm trying to do is I'm gonna set up something that will not only have their food moving, but it's gonna smell really bad. These are the carcasses that Aaron is allowing us to use.
They died naturally, which is the only way I would use them as bait.
Some large raptors, like eagles, can see prey as small as a rabbit 2 miles away, while others, like turkey vultures, use scent to smell their food from 8 miles away. Brittany is attempting to appeal to the strengths of all the Thunderbird's predation tactics. She hopes by using collected carcasses from around the farm, she can lure out the thunderbird to see where they are nesting.
So these guys are really important because they're actually motion activated. They get triggered, and what they do is these are video.
I need one on the skies to see where birds are coming from and going to.
And then I have this one pointed down at my rotating table of delights. All right, I've got all the equipment going. I've got the turntable going, and I'm just waiting and hoping to find a thunderbird.
While Brittany attempts to draw out the monster bird of prey from its nesting site, 20 miles away, Charlie, Troy, and Justin meet at a local bird sanctuary.
Hey there, big boy.
What are we doing, man?
Their goal is to determine all of the bird species in Chestnut Ridge large enough to be identified as a thunderbird.
So I met with Marlin.
Okay.
And he said that when he was about 10, 11 years old, he was minding his business and he got picked up by a giant bird. Got a big gnarly scar from it. He said it had a 25-foot wingspan. His description was that it was black, it had a beak that was curved, with a white ring around its neck.
A white ring.
That doesn't make any sense to what we had. Totally different.
So we met with Aaron, and Aaron said his was brown.
Buckskin, color of a deer.
He had measured it to exactly 18-foot wingspan.
And there was no white ring around its neck, and it was fully feathered from the tip of the snout beak all the way down the head and broad shoulder.
Well, I think this is why we accept the firsthand testimony and give grace that all the details might not be photo perfect.
All the details are not there to me.